Hi, my name is Marilyn. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're on your natural hair journey and you're struggling, or you just want some more tips and tricks to improve the health and length of your hair, then you've absolutely come to the right place. I've been natural almost 5 years, and my hair is currently about 13 inches, which is about mid-back length. And I've learned a lot of tips and tricks, not just on my own journey, but from other people as well, that I would love to share with you. Without wasting too much time, I'm going to dive into today's agenda where we will be talking about the fundamental characteristics of your hair and understanding them. I believe that that's key for you to really know what you're dealing with and ways to maximize the potential of your hair. We're going to talk about four fundamental characteristics of your natural hair, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. However, sometimes the definitions of these characteristics tend to be interchanged. So today we're going to define and clarify all of those. The four characteristics we're going to talk about are thickness, density, volume, and elasticity. The first thing we're going to be talking about is thickness. And contrary to what most people believe, thickness is actually the width of an individual strand of hair. So, for example, I've got an individual strand of hair here between, well, it's kind of hard to track, between my fingers, and I can feel, a little something, right? So, the thickness of this strand, or on average all the strands on my head, is actually the average thickness of my hair, not necessarily the volume, which is what you're seeing right now. So the question is, how do I know how thick my hair is, right? There are a number of ways to test for thickness. Apparently, one of the ways you can test for it is to hold it up to the light. So if you hold your the strand of your hair up to the light and you can't see the strand at all, it means your hair is very thin. Another thing that Google would suggest you do is to get a piece of thread and then hold up your hair to it. If your hair is about as thick as that piece of thread, then you have very thick hair. The next thing we'll be talking about is density. Now, I think this is the one that most people mistake for thickness. So density is actually the number of hair strands per square inch of your head. So for example, if I were to take this is probably not accurate, but if I were to take this square inch of hair, right? This is my density. This is how much hair I have per square inch. Now, if I were to compare it to somebody else who had thicker hair, they will probably have more hair here than I do. Or someone with thinner hair, they would have less hair. Maybe they would have this for a square inch of hair. So that's essentially density. And that's also something that people mistake for volume. The next thing we'll be talking about is volume. The major difference between volume, thickness, and density is the fact that thickness and density are usually genetic, and so they can't easily be modified, but volume can. There are ways that you can style your natural hair to get more curl definition and less volume, or you can sort of how do I say this? You can sort of, I don't know, fluff out your hair so that you can achieve more volume. For example, if I wanted to achieve more than this, I would pick the individual clumps and separate them further. The last thing we're going to talk about is elasticity, which is essentially how long you can stretch your hair when it's wet before it returns to its not natural state. So we're doing this to an individual strand. So if, for example, I were to um 1 second, I'm going to do a very short demonstration here. I'm just going to wet my hair and then do the elasticity test. So I've wet this strand. Well, it's not one, it's about four because I couldn't really do one. So I've wet this, well, group of strands of my hair, and I'm going to pull for as long as I can to see how far down it will go. So this is essentially my elasticity test. Now, the good thing about elasticity is it's a good measure of how healthy your hair is. If you're not able to pull your hair far enough down before it breaks off, then you know that your hair is not exactly in its healthiest state. Now, for most people, they have like medium elasticity, which means that they can pull their hair down a decent distance before their hair starts to show any sign of breakage. Very healthy hair is highly elastic, which means you can pull it all the way down before it, breaks apart. Now, the main question is, why is it actually important to know these things? It's really important to know these things because it helps you understand and choose what products to use for your hair, because not everything works for everyone. But once you can understand your hair's thickness, density, volume, well, volume not so much, but volume actually, yes, because If you want to achieve higher volume, you need to use lighter weight products. If you want to have less volume, you can use heavier products. So with this knowledge, I think that you can go ahead and test your hair's thickness, density, and elasticity to see where you fall on the scale, and then modify your routines and your products according to that. Now, if you really like this video, please subscribe to this channel and expect more good things on caring for your natural hair.